Oh, good morning, you guys. In this video, I'm going to talk about something that I mentioned in a video about a year ago, maybe longer. And I haven't made a video about it since. But for the longest time, I've tried to find something on the internet about it, or even to watch a video of somebody that talks about it. And I can't find any information regarding what I'm going to mention in this video at all. So it makes me wonder if it's just a unique problem for me. Am I only the sole sufferer of this unexplained phenomena that has affected me my entire life and continues to do so? It never goes away. Even as a small child, this affected me, and I was very much aware of it. And it really dictated where I went throughout my life. If there's a name for it, I'm not aware of it. I don't know what you call this condition or problem, but it's real. It's very, very much real. I'm going to show you an illustration in this video right here because I don't think any viewer that watches my channel is aware of this, but we've got in this county what is called the Chautauqua Ridge. And in this illustration, you will see to the right the lake that I live on called Chautauqua Lake and its elevation. And to the left is Lake Erie and its elevation. The Chautauqua Ridge is when you drive north from where I live, and you'll drop down a very steep grade and drop down in elevation to a bunch of towns and townships that are all bordering Lake Erie. And in the wintertime, when the lake effect snow comes across the lake, it hits the ridge and the wind goes up and over it to the much higher elevation where I live, and then it just dumps its snow. Now, my county is the highest county out of 60 some counties in New York. Chautauqua Lake is also one of the highest elevation lakes that you can traverse in the entire United States of America. One of the highest elevated lakes in America. And I live right on the shore of it. And the reason why I'm mentioning these things is because I wonder if these geographical differences play a role. I wonder if there's something in my area that is totally different, because I have not ever in my lifetime been able to explain what I'm going to tell you. Because the phenomena that I've been experiencing all my life, I am extremely, extremely sensitive to it. And I will show you here the things that I'm sensitive to. I am extremely sensitive to elevation, direction, location, and navigation. Basically, traveling. I'm very, very sensitive to these things, highly sensitive to these things. And these things are what dictate my life no matter what I do. It's something I cannot control or help. It exists and it just is. And there's nothing I can do about it. Now, why am I extremely sensitive to these things? I've never been able to answer it for myself. I cannot explain it. And I'll show you on here a small drawing on my county map that when I travel where I start out from and then where I end up, where I ultimately go, and I cross the ridge and I drop down and then I continue to drive northeast, I have an overwhelming feeling of going home, And it continues even if I go beyond. Like even driving to Buffalo, New York, I feel like I'm going home. Now, that's not a city I would ever live in or want to live in. But when I go in that direction, I feel like I'm going home. It feels good to me. There's two directions that I travel in that make me feel really, really good, body wide. But if I go in the two opposite directions, like south or west, I get sick, very sick. And I don't mean just feeling sick, I mean, I get physically sick and I get severely depressed. Now, there was a time where I had to drive south to go to Lowe's, which is in Pennsylvania. And you guys probably remember this. I went to go get birch panels for the camper build, my last camper build. And the only place that I could get the birch panels that I needed for that camper was down in Lowe's in Pennsylvania. And I was driving my pickup truck at that time, and I had such a severe, and when I say severe, you guys, I am not joking. I thought I was near death. I had such a severe anxiety and panic attack and felt so sick that by the time I got to Lowe's, I told the manager, I have got to sit down. As soon as I entered the store, I told him, I says, I'm here to buy sheets of birch panels. But I says, I feel like I'm going to lose consciousness and I don't want to be out in the parking lot. I was all by myself and they were going to call me an ambulance. I had 5 employees, including the manager, standing around me. This is something that I could not control. It was horrific, awful. My sister lives 2.5 hours directly south of me in Pennsylvania, way down in Pennsylvania, 2.5 hours away. I've been down to her house before. And as we traveled down towards her house, when she came and got me one time, I felt so sick. I felt so boxed in. I felt so claustrophobic and I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I could not wait to leave. And to this day, I don't visit my sister. I know the drive. I know how to get down there, all the roads you got to take to get to her house, but I do not visit her because of where she lives. It makes me sick to drive south. And I mean sick. So I don't know what causes this. Is it a magnetic thing? Is it an environmental thing? I don't know. But if you look at this map here, I live in a very strange area because we've got different fronts. To the north is the Niagara frontier. Where I live is the southern tier. And then when you go south into Pennsylvania, you get into the Allegheny Plateau. This is all Indian territory, all Native American territory. This area was huge with Indian territory. Does that have anything to do with it? I don't know. This is a phenomenon that I do not understand. I don't know anything about it. All I know is that it severely affects me. There's places that I can go when I drive and it feels so positive, it's almost euphoric. And then there's other areas where I can drive and go when I travel and it's like I'm going to hell. It's negative, dark, and I can't stand it. And it makes me sick to my stomach. What the hell is causing this? So I'm very sensitive to direction and elevation and all of it. But if it's a real thing that affects other people, because I find it hard to believe I could be the only one suffering from this on planet Earth, but yet I've never, ever in my lifetime heard anybody talk about this or say anything even remotely close to it. But there's areas that I could go where the feeling is screaming inside of me, don't ever live here. And I know I could never live there. My parents are buried in a township where I could not live. I tried to live there in the past. It did not work. and it was awful. And I could not wait to get out of there. It was a very dark time in my life. So it's like something is guiding me directionally, navigating me, for lack of a better term, of where I'm supposed to go and travel and be or live. Something is controlling that in me, and I can't explain it. So this is why I'm making this video, to reach out to you guys, to ask you if you've ever known anybody that's had this problem. If you've ever known anybody that's talked about stuff like this. Because when I've been down south, I've been to Florida, I've been all throughout the West, all the way to California. And the thing that made me feel the worst on that trip was the Rocky Mountains. Now, I love mountains, but when I was surrounded by mountains, like if I got into a valley where there was just like, you know, giant hills, big mountains, just being tucked inside that terrain, I felt very claustrophobic, like the walls were closing in. And it just makes me want to claw my way out. It's like I can't live where I can't see distance. I like to be to where there's views and I can see what seems like forever. When I'm up high and I can really see great distances, that makes me feel open and free and like I can breathe. But if I'm in an area that's hemmed in by mountains and giant buildings and obstacles to where I can't see beyond those obstacles, I feel like I'm suffocating. Like it's closing in on me and I don't want to be there. It's a very negative feeling. So those mountains in Colorado gave me the most negative vibes ever. I hated it there. I hated it. I could not wait to get away from those mountains, to get over them and to get away from them. What the hell causes that? What is that? Is that a condition that has a name? Is that a real thing with people? Because it is with me. And though the mountains were beautiful, I mean, breathtakingly beautiful. I mean, you're talking majestic, the biggest mountains we have in this country. Gorgeous to look at, but I couldn't wait to get away from them. I could not stand being at the base of those mountains. I felt walled off from the world. I hated it. I don't know where it comes from, what it is, but it affects me. It affects me. And all my life, it has dictated where I work, where I live, and where I travel. It has always affected me that way. And if I go against it and I ignore it and don't listen to it, I suffer. I succumb to the consequences if I don't follow this inner compass I have. I really wish I could find information on the internet about this, but I type in all types of stuff. I don't even know what to type in because I don't know what you call it. And maybe this is why I can't find what I need to find, is because I'm just not using the right search words. But this is why I'm doing the video, to ask you guys if you've ever heard of this phenomenon with somebody, because with me, it's real. It is as real as I am sitting here. So when I did a video about this last, I had some people tell me, they say, well, maybe it's because you're getting outside of your comfort zone. I don't think it's a comfort zone, because I can even go way north of where I've lived all my life and I feel like I'm going home. And the more north I go, the more I feel like I'm going home. There's like a northern pull to me, which makes no sense to me because the north is associated with cold and I can't stand cold and snow. So why would I be drawn like a moth to a flame on the northern direction when I would rather be like south where it's warm? This is why it makes no sense to me. But yet the pull is unbelievably strong, very, very strong. very strong. And all my life, I've tried to understand this weird phenomena. And is it a natural thing that I'm just sensitive to, that we all are supposed to have, and I'm tapped into it? Or is there something wrong with me? Or is it a spiritual thing? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just know that I live in an area that's got a lot of energy in it because of its past. It's rich in history. Lots have happened all throughout this area of the United States. And am I picking up on that? Does that have something to do with it? I don't know. I just wish I could understand it, because it really is my compass, and this is what dictates what I do and where I go. I've even gone camping in locations where alarms inside of me go off and say, don't stay here tonight. Don't be here. Leave. Leave. Get out of here. Out of the blue. And it's been like that even way back when I was a kid growing up in the city and I would ride my bicycle. There would be sides of the city that I would never visit, because this feeling inside of me would be like, don't ever ride your bike over there. Stay away from that side of town. Go this way. Go over here instead. Stay on this side of town and don't ever, ever go over there. And I would listen to it as a kid, and I didn't. In those areas, I never rode my bicycle to those areas of the city. So all my life, it's affected me. Just like there'd be friends' houses that I would go to visit my friends at their houses, and the house that they lived in felt negative. And I'd want to go home because the property that my friend lived on felt so dark and negative to me. And it's like, I got to leave. And then there was other friends' homes that I'd go to, and it was like, felt great. It was the exact opposite. It was just a relaxed, good feeling to be there. Like I could spend all day long there. So this has affected me from since I was a tiny little kid all the way up to my life now, and it continues to affect me and probably always will. I mean, why would it stop? If it hasn't stopped in 50 years, then obviously it's not gonna. But I really wish I knew if this is a real phenomenon that happens with people and other people are out there experiencing this. I'd really like to talk to them. I'd like to pick their brain to see if they're living their lives the same way, because it's so strong, it will not let you escape if you try to go against it. It's that powerful. And so I've just come to accept that the reason why I was born where I was born is because this is where God wanted me to be. But is there more significance and more importance to it that I just don't understand? I don't know. But it is very, very strange. I've always thought it was strange. But if you listen to it and go with it, it leads me to wonderful places that make me feel so good and great. And if I try to go against it and get outside of that compass and go in the wrong directions, it makes me physically and mentally ill. It really does. So I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it, but it is a real thing, and it does happen to me. And I wouldn't say that it's something that would keep me in New York the rest of my life. It's just that if I move somewhere throughout the United States, somewhere else, it would have to be a place in an area that this compass would allow, because if it didn't, it would never work. It would never work. So that's why I say I would have to go to an area and feel it out first and see what it's like and what the vibe is like there, because that inner compass would tell me, don't you ever live here, or you should live here. This is where you should be. It dictates where I go and what I do. So I would never know until I was in an area on whether that inner compass would approve or disapprove, because that's exactly what it does. That is exactly what it does. And it's not something I can control or help. It's not something you can take medication for, at least not that I'm aware of. But I don't believe, out of all the billions of people on this planet, that I'm the only one experiencing this weird, strange phenomena that has to do with location, travel, elevation, and so on. It's very, very strong, and it's never faded. And it continues to be that way to this day. And the weird thing about the Chautauqua Ridge, and well, at least it seems weird to me, that the minute that I cross that line, all the presets on my van, I have 2 FM channels on my van, and they're all preset to all the different classic rock stations, pop rock stations, country western, and talk radio. All the presets are all set. But the minute I cross that Chautauqua Ridge line and drop down, none of those stations come in. And then I have a whole nother set of presets that can only come in when I'm on the other side of that line. That's pretty strange. Now, I know elevation difference dictates radio stations. I get that, but it's like right at the line. The minute I could be listening, and I can show you guys in a video and put this to the test. When I go over the ridge, and if I had the camera aiming out the windshield, you guys would see me go over this ridge and then down the other side, and you can see Lake Erie for as far as the eye can see. And Canada is on the other side. You can see this right out the windshield. And if I had a radio station on before I crossed the line, you'd hear it go, and then it don't come in. And then I have to switch to the other set of presets and start listening to radio stations on the other side of the line. And vice versa. If I come back right at the line, like if I'm listening to 97 Rock out of Buffalo, it goes away. And now I have to go back to the presets I was listening to before as I went going there. And then coming back, I switch over. And it happens right at the Chautauqua Ridge line. The famous Chautauqua Ridge that the news talks about when we got a storm coming, and they say, well, down south over the Chautauqua Ridge, you're going to get lake effect snow. They talk about it's a weird phenomena that happens. And I can show you in a video what I'm telling you is true, that the radio stations will quit. And then I got to switch over and listen to different radio stations once I'm on the other side of the line. And then you'd see Lake Erie and you'd see me drop down, and it's like you're in a whole nother world. And when I cross that line, I feel so different. I feel so damn good. Like I've entered another world. And once I'm on the other side of that line, you guys, I have absolutely no thoughts of my house, of home. It's like I totally forgot home. And now that I'm in this area, I never, ever think about home. I don't even think about my cats. I don't think about anything once I'm on the other side of this line. I don't know how the hell you explain that, but it happens every time I cross it. Every time I go, and it's not just this ridge and this line that I cross. I mean, it could be in any direction that I travel. Like if I go out to Erie, Pennsylvania, which is directly west of me, and I go out there, I hate the drive out. But when I'm coming back and I'm going east, which is a direction I favor over west, I feel the exact opposite. I feel wonderful. Because when I go out, my compass is telling me you're going the wrong way. Don't go west, go east. So north and east are the only two directions that have ever in my life have ever been accepted by this inner compass that I can't explain. If I go south or west, alarms go off and it makes me sick. I really wish I could get to the bottom of this phenomena to find out what in the hell is it called and what is doing it, because it's been my entire life and it's never subsided. It's never eased. And to this day, it dictates where I go and where I travel and what I do. Because if I disobey it, I pay for it. Very, very odd. But it is what it is. And that's why I'm doing this video. So let me know what you guys think down below. And if you've ever heard anything, somebody talking about this, or ever heard something similar to it, please bring it to my attention, because I would really love to learn about this phenomena, because I cannot be the only one on planet Earth that's experiencing this. And I would like to know if there's a name to it or other people experiencing this. I'd really would love to hear what they've got to say about it, to try to figure out its meaning and what it's all about and what causes it. Anyway, I just thought I'd do a video about that. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you again in another one. Bye-bye.